The new generation of a well-known good performer. Xiaomi Watch S4 feels more of a minor refresh rather than groundbreaking upgrade. So, is it any good? Let's inspect. Xiaomi smartwatches are traditionally great about features, but typically fail to impress in terms of design and feeling, and let's face it, they're usually a little bit boring. Now, this is a new generation of their S line, the S4, something that apparently has certain hardware upgrades and a lot more premium materials, which hopefully are going to bring it to the next level. Is it good enough? Let's inspect. Health tracking is what I'd like to showcase now, and perhaps among the good sides of S4. Because with the long cycles between charges, you can capture a whole lot of data and get it parsed via the smartphone app. If you've ever owned a Mi ecosystem health tracker, then definitely these menus feel familiar. Heart rate tracking options are many. You can configure how often it's gonna measure your pulse and even ask the watch to warn you in case it exceeds certain thresholds or goes under them. Accuracy is good, but of course it is much more interesting to see how tracking reacts while you're doing sports, which we are going to take a look at in just a moment. Blood oxygen saturation is trackable too, so are the stress levels, which are again a calculation based on several components. As for the pedometer function, it is based on a gyroscope and accelerometer and is trustworthy as well. What is completely unreliable though, at least with the first version of the firmware, is the sleep tracking. Totally wrong about guessing when I'm falling asleep and fully lacking details about awake times. It might get better with the coming updates, but on the release date, not even on par with the Mi Band 9 sleep tracking. You probably are more curious about what happens when these sensors really get stressed, which is exactly what I'm going to show you now. First of all, a lot of tracked workouts are supported, and these of them that are performed outdoors may let you use GPS signal for detailed tracking. I've started with an e-bike exercise, kind of the first more intensive activity after the surgery, and the S4 was unexpectedly good. I've had pretty low expectations, but the responsiveness of the HR sensor is remarkable and in my opinion very close to what Garmin Fenix 8 would detect. Here, you can see them side by side, measuring the very same activity. With some of the sports, there are detailed tracks and tons of useful information provided via the smartphone app, very positive words about the GPS implementation, locks signal rather quickly and reliable reception during the whole time. Training courses, a lot of additional configurable training settings, obviously to sum things up about the workouts, saying that it is a strong side would be an understatement. Design and build quality are what we take a closer look at now. Besides having a high-tech device, we also want our watch to look good. So the back is fine, nothing too fancy. Here's the watch, the blackish edition this time. Feels solid, good strap. Most of the health tracking sensors are at the bottom. Just like last year's S3, Xiaomi tried to turn the defect into an effect. I mean, this ridiculously thick bezel. Removable, and you could place another ring in order to match your clothes color or whatever you target. A nice idea, and also acts as a protector to the display. There are practically two buttons. The top one is also being a crown, which functionally is a great feature, a key upgrade as compared to Generation 3. If you want to discover the remaining upgrades, I certainly recommend checking the specifications. The same size of the display, with increased brightness this time. There are multiple health tracking sensors, GPS implementation for location tracking, generously large battery, there's a microphone, a speaker, even NFC enabled for contactless payments, and is yet another device that Xiaomi released with their HyperOS skin. Certainly, the specs sound great, but we know that majority of them are kind of matching the specifications of other really good 2025 wearable devices. And yet, we can notice certain improvements not just on the inside, but also on the outside. I believe that Xiaomi are deploying a new system on a chip, something allowing them to make the interface snappier, but also to deploy a new set of sensors, which probably is the reason why health tracking is a little bit better as compared to S3. There also are improvements about the Xiaomi Pay ecosystem, something that was sort of limited, probably a year or two ago. Now apparently they include Visa credit cards and a lot more supported banks in the supported regions. Also, some of the specs are pointing our attention to certain display improvements. If you're thinking size or pixel density, not really. They appear to be exactly the same as last year, but now the peak brightness goes up and improves the visibility in daytime. Accompanied by the many good-looking watch faces, I guess these are good choices for a round display. Of course, always-on mode is present. It also reacts to brightness changes outdoors, so overall Xiaomi did excellent job with this component on the watch. And here's a trick you may find useful when choosing the brightness mode. Make sure to enable this extra adaptive feature. Yes, it consumes a bit more power, but improves the visibility through raising the brightness, especially during the summer when you're outdoors. The battery inside appears to not be an upgrade, though. Capacity matches the specs of last year's S3, charging speeds as well. In between charges, it's gonna last for quite some time, up to a week if you track everything and you use always-on display mode and go for a few workouts with GPS for several hours. It's gonna last a couple of weeks if AOD mode is off and up to a month in battery saver mode. As for connectivity, S4 should also keep you happy. Besides the basics via Bluetooth, we can rely on GPS, technically it's called GNSS implementation, so besides GPS, there are a few more satellite services accessible. Thanks to the speaker and the microphone, you can make Bluetooth-relayed phone calls, and Xiaomi let you use NFC for contactless payments. And before getting too excited about it, make sure to check whether your country and bank provider are supported. Software-wise, depends on the point of view. If you need a lot of apps and access to App Store or Play Store, Xiaomi's S4 ain't be the right for you. But if battery life is a priority and you prefer to have functional, responsive, rich-on features device, which feels like a fitness tracker on steroids, now we're talking. Getting used to the navigation happens naturally. There's a detailed tutorial at the start, of course. The combination between a touchscreen and a crown is my favorite type, plus Xiaomi are very touchscreen-centric, so you're gonna find yourself using the touch options very frequently. A big difference to the S3 is the way you interact with the buttons. The bottom one opens the quick toggles, and there are no longer the typical cards and tiles when you swipe left or right. There are multiple customization options about the way the apps are being shown, about the display performance, the wake-up gestures. There are multiple AOD formats to choose between, and even a way to control music via the watch and go even further by storing some files locally, so that you can listen to music via headset without the need to keep the smartphone around. If you're looking for actionable notifications, at this point of time, not available with the S4. And yet, I can't say I'm a fan of HyperOS on Xiaomi's smartphones, but definitely what I see here with their wearables is close to excellent. I would give a high rating about the smartphone app too, still called Mi Fitness. Maybe at some point it might be renamed to Xiaomi Health. It is nice and stable. Xiaomi continuously enhanced the functionality, add new features and so on, but not yet as good as the Zepp app that used to be associated with most Mi devices years ago. And another good fact about those of you who love sports, Strava and Google Fit both are supported. Mi Fitness is the best place to get to see the analysis for your health, because if you wear the watch for weeks, then all the displayed data is going to be based on everything collected thus far. Now, many good sides. So, which are the shortcomings? First and foremost, Xiaomi continue to use the concept one size fits all. There is no LTE edition, unfortunately. There are certain limitations with Xiaomi Pay. I did mention about my concerns regarding sleep tracking with the first firmware iterations, and despite the cute idea with swappable bezels, I still think this area is way too thick. So here we are, 1 year later, 1 generation later, and the S4 is closer to being a really decent wearable in 2025. Very attractive budget. A lot of great features, spectacular battery life, and I feel that all the upgrades, especially when it comes to the aesthetical part, are on par with the demands of most of the users in 2025. I feel that finally we can say that the S line is very attractive, rather stylish, smartwatch series. Now, if you wonder whether that's a good smartwatch to buy this year, I would say if you're looking for high IQ, ability to install extra additional apps such as the Apple Watch line or anything that is based on Wear OS such as the Samsung Galaxy line, no, that's quite a different idea. Over here we have superb battery life, significantly lower IQ, and yet fantastic opportunities to track health, sports, and get some productivity enhancers. Plus, these contactless payments, they are quite the deal at this budget line. So that's my opinion and how I perceive Xiaomi's S4. I think it's a very good smartwatch to consider in 2025. And that's everything about my review. In case you have questions or something else you want to contribute with, the comments area below the video is the right place to address it. In case you want to buy the smartwatch or help me to support the channel in any form or way you like, you can check the video description, give me a like, subscribe for more cool tech inspections, and I, Michael, the TechMishka, can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!